ready, set, go.
Yeah, whole team on a loose, kick it up like Kung Fu, untamed, yeah, cool, running plays like who knew, hella fast when I slide through, you would've thought we was in a zoo, engine roar like a lion do.
Go, get ready, set, go.
The temperatures were going up and down on the temperature gauge, so it seemed like it was getting water and then not getting water. So as we've left the pits, they've closed the pit exit, and we're like, what the hell's going on?
Will is a fantastic driver, and I know he absolutely loves the chomp of the bit to pick away at the rear markers. Picked away everyone, phenomenal. Really, really happy.
But wait, the safety car is coming out. So the safety car's got... Who's that being towed in?
So for those of you who have been following our journey over this season, you would no doubt have seen that we have had a lot of events not go our way as we hoped to be. But that's racing. There's, you know, you roll a dice every time you take the car out, and some things go your way and lots of things don't go your way. But it's that just grit and determination to continue that gets you the satisfaction that you crave from the sport. And what I absolutely love, I think, is that everyone in this team has not for a single second complained. Their effort or determination has wavered at any point. Everyone's always really keen to get here as soon as they can, bring all their tools with them, bring their best attributes about themselves and work as a team and just get on with it. You know, just absolutely get on with it. And I really do think that is something that's crafted from being within the military. From the point of basic training, you get broken down into a body of a person, and then the military brings you back up and instills all these core values inside you and makes you what is a modern day soldier. Grit, determination, resilience. Resilience is probably the most critical thing this team has had to deal with in the last 6 months. And resilience isn't something you're born with. Resilience is something that's trained into you. You adapt, you create or you amend your mindset to be more forgiving of things and not let them get you down, and be adaptable and just find a way and a solution around a problem. And the military is fantastic at that. You know, the military is known as one of the best problem-solving companies in the world. Our business is always problem-solving, and motorsport has a lot of problems in it. It's just great to have that common bond between all the guys and girls that have essentially been formed through that training process, whether you've done 25 years or a couple of years. You know, everyone's been through that same crafted process, and so we've all got a similar mindset to these things. No one's down in the doldrums, whining, complaining. Everyone just wants the best. Everyone just wants to work around the problems. They see the problem, they want to work around it, and just make whatever the situation is better. And I absolutely love that. It is the difference between us and the professional teams that are here that get paid whatever they get paid a day. They are essentially employed to be here and do their job, whereas we are here purely on passion. We're not being paid extra to be here whatsoever. And I do feel that makes a difference, because it is pure passion that drives us here. And especially after Spa, that was a real low point for us. In various ways, you know, JC took a big hit on that mentally, and we've done a lot of chatting since. And he's turned up to Donington this weekend, and he's absolutely buzzing. He's in probably the best mental space he's been for most of the season, if not all the season. And I love that, because I know he's going to have a great race. JC's in the team because he's a great driver, and we haven't seen the best from him, but I just know it's coming. He is a phenomenal driver, no doubt, and that's why I championed him to be in this team. And it's my job really to make sure that when anyone in the team is having a bit of a wobble, having a bit of a lack of confidence or a bit of self-doubt, that I remind them why they're so important to this, and their worth within the team and the brand, and you know, just the whole, that they aren't just a statistic in the team. They're a force multiplier in the team. They bring advantage to our team on whatever we're doing, and that just gives me a massive sense of pride, and makes my life and job really easy. Really, you know, I give people a cuddle every now and again just to perk them up and make sure they're on the right path. But I don't really have to do that very often because everyone does it for each other. Everyone looks after each other in the team. And our good days are on the horizon. I know it. The sun's beaming on us now. I feel like everyone feels like the tides have turned a bit. I hope I'm not eating my words into the next video, but we're in a good place, and that is just pure resilience by the team. And yeah, we're just itching. We're just absolutely itching to get some happiness over that finish line for everyone. Everyone deserves it, and I'm looking forward to it. Welcome to round 5 of Britcar. We're back at Donington Park, the second time for us this year. It's beautiful weather compared to how it was earlier in the year, and I'm really excited to be back here. We're on the shorter circuit this time. We're missing out the Melbourne Loop, which makes for a more flowy track and a quicker lap time overall. Lots of people know Donington Park very well. It's probably the second most iconic track in the UK. It's just got a lot of history and a lot of people cut their teeth here. So to be back here and racing with Britcar and the Army team is just great.
I think at the moment I prefer the national circuit to the GP circuit. Cutting out those last 2 hairpins makes the lap time much quicker, obviously. It brings the field closer together. The hairpins can add or reduce a lot of lap time. It depends on the brakes on your car. We're fortunate to have ABS, so we can be quite late on the brakes into the hairpins. We found that was one of our best overtaking opportunities on the GP circuit. But on the national circuit, I imagine the field's going to be much more condensed. Something I'm going to find out tomorrow, I'm sure. But it's much faster flowing because we're not slowing down to the speeds that are as slow on the GP circuit. And we'll see how tomorrow goes.
Yeah, so running the national circuit this weekend, we ran the GP circuit in round 1. I'm kind of indifferent to which I prefer. Is it better for the car? I don't really think it makes much difference. The car's quite good at hairpins because you can brake so late and V it off, which is great for like defending a line. The car's really good around hairpins. We now don't have the hairpins, we have a chicane onto the start-finish straight. I think really like we've just, all the drivers have still got a lot to learn here, you know, myself included. But it is a nice circuit to drive, it does flow really well, and you know, removing the hairpins does make the flow of the circuit much nicer, and you're actually taking a lot more stress out of everything. You know, you're never going to have a harder braking zone and into a hairpin. Or you know, traction out of that hairpin, stress on the drivetrain, so it is a much nicer flowing circuit. Yeah, does it suit the car? Yeah, I think it does suit the car, but I'm yet to see like the times of our competitors, and yeah, that's all going to come to light tomorrow, I think. So we'll have to wait until then.
So the national layout from the GP, I say it does cut out the two sharp hairpins essentially. So it is a bit faster and slower, but it does, like, you do miss out on another 2 overtaking opportunities. So everywhere else, there isn't really any way you can literally stop the car on the apex apart from maybe turn 1 to put a move on. So you've really got to line some good moves up and do them at pace. You don't have some dive, you can't dive bomb anyone, not dive bomb, you can't dive bomb anyone here and just throw it on the inside. So it's big calculated moves. So that's I would say the only real difference is the GP just offers a few more overtaking opportunities, where we don't get that in the national. But it's never known. It's not known for like no one being able to get past anyone. So there is still plenty of opportunities. I think having those 2 big braking zones on the GP are helpful. But we don't have them this weekend, so just get on with it. Find a move somewhere else. Hopefully I'll be at the front, so I don't have to worry about making moves.
So we've got this is the biggest truck racing weekend of the year. So, you know, I think regardless, we can enjoy this weekend. There's going to be a lot going on. I can see a fun fair, you know, over the other side of the track that I'm looking forward to getting involved in. I think there's a festival on tomorrow night. There should be a really good showing from the public. You know, we should have a good spectator crowd for us this weekend, which would be really nice. You know, and Sunday we're going to set up an engagement stand over in the infield, which would be really good to just engage with the public, show them what we do, and hopefully get some backing from, you know, some guys who are just interested in what we do. So I think we're really looking forward to that as well. What keeps us motivated? I think it's the fact that we are so close to clinching this bad boy, and everyone can feel it. Everyone feels that little fizz in the air. And like, they just know, and myself as well, like we all know that we are capable of doing well in this championship. And it might not be this year, you know, I think we'll have some success this year, but it might not be this year that we actually contend the entire championship and be championship winners. Next year, you know, I think next year that'll definitely be on the cards. But I think it's just the fact that we're so close to doing it, and everyone's pushing just to get us there, take some trophies home, and just to say we actually nailed it, finally. That's definitely been my motivation, and I think a lot of the lads would say the same thing. So. A good result. I mean, obviously a good result is a podium, and we are owed a podium from the bloody car gods. Lady Luck, Mr. Fate, I don't know, whatever you call it. They owe it to us. We've had a tough run this year. A tough run from everyone, and everyone's worked really hard to just keep going. So, you know, we all want a podium, and it makes me laugh this weekend because everyone's talking about a podium, and they need to shut up. No, we are positive. Everyone's positive, and I'd love to see it. Every single person on this team deserves it. If we could take trophies home this weekend, it'd be phenomenal. I just don't want to jinx us by saying such things, so delete it, cut it out. Nope. Nope.
Well, look, you know, we've all been struggling with some self-doubt at some point. I certainly have as well. You know, that there's been a few circuits where I've been to for the first time, and I'm struggling to keep up with the other two. That's just part of the learning curve for me. The other two drivers have had problems. The guys in the pit crew have suffered problems as well. It's how it is. This is a huge learning curve for us. I think we forget it sometimes how big a step up this is. We're all so fortunate to be here. It doesn't come easy, and it doesn't come cheap either. But we're trying our best, and we're slowly getting to a point where I think we're getting really excited, and something's on the horizon. Whether it's just because we absolutely nail it one weekend or we just get a stroke of good luck, we will see. But we're keeping our hopes high, quietly. we won't say too much because we can all be superstitious. But let's just see how the weekend goes.
Right guys, welcome to a really beautiful day here at Donington Park for round 5 of the Britcar Championship. Obviously this is our second time here. We first came here in the very first race of the season back in April, I think it was. We're a little bit unfortunate this weekend because we've got a date-tied fixture across the wider team in the Armed Forces Race Challenge, and the pit crew, our sort of mainstay pit crew, also drivers in that championship, so we've lost 3 of them this weekend. What that means is we've brought in a couple of the other guys who have been getting experience over the season, and we put them into the critical roles of jackman and general mechanic of the car. So we're back into the normal format of 4 25-minute sessions this weekend for testing. So we're going to do our usual strategy of a dedicated session for each driver, and then the 4th session will be dedicated to pit stop practice. And the purpose for that, really, apart from just general refinement and good drills, is to get the guys who are covering those slots up to speed and on the right playing field of what needs to happen this weekend in terms of all pit stops. That's for them and also the drivers to get that familiarity, so we don't have any loss of synergy for any pit stop practice that we might need to do throughout the race. So yeah, beautiful weather conditions today, nice chill in the air, which means quicker lap times this morning. That'll probably tail off in the afternoon when the heat picks up, but at the minute everything's looking beautiful. The cars are really getting great shape, and we're going out on track in about 30 minutes.
So I've not had it before where in a championship you go to tracks for the second time in the same season. Obviously we've got that here and at Snetterton, which is the next round after this. It is nice to come back here, and after everything that's happened, I think it's just like, you just feel a little bit more comfortable about everything. So yeah, it's nice. I just felt super comfortable in testing today. I've really learnt a lot of the car recently about, like, it's weird in that taking a step back in like your aggressiveness of driving, it makes the car faster. And it's really starting to click in my head and pay dividends. And equally, like learning how to brake deep into the corner and actually make use of the ABS instead of like in a traditional car without ABS, you'd have to kind of complete your braking, then make the turn, or be very good on the trail braking. It's nice. It's nice to come back here and understand the car better and what we need to do as a team better. So you know, hopefully we can put all that together this weekend for a nice result.
We've come a long way since that first range. You know, we've had a couple of highs and we've had a hell of a lot of lows. And I feel like coming back to Donington, we are probably in a reset phase. I feel like everything is sort of starting to look up. Really looking forward to getting on with the weekend and as we've said previously on several occasions, just having a nice clean race and bringing the car home nice, safe and sound. Testing today was a bit painful, if I'm honest. It's been very red flag heavy. We had allocated an hour and 40 minutes of track time throughout the test sessions, 4 test sessions, and in reality we've probably had about 25 minutes in total of actually at pace on the track. So we haven't gained a lot from today's testing, and it's sad. But I think we are just in that period where we have just gone over the hump of the main season of the championship, and we are just looking forward to getting on. The car's in a really good state again. We're putting all of our woes behind us and we just want to get on with it and start afresh essentially. We're not doing terribly in the championship despite all of our problems, but there's a lot of ground to gain to get us into a good place. All the lads are really positive at the minute. Everyone's in a good place. We haven't had any dramas with the car. We're just doing some little titivation as we always do on the night before the race. And then, we've got quali around 10 o'clock tomorrow and then into the race at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, you know, we're taking everything in our stride and nothing's stressing us out at the minute. So I think we're in a good place.
Round 1 was a rush, like to get the car ready to get there. You know, we had, I think, like 4 weeks notice to really understand that we were going to be doing the championship before we started it. So it's all a bit of a blur. Obviously round 1 was one of our only clean races to date. But you know, it was also a race that was just plagued with safety cars and issues. So you know, I think we saw in the first episode, like I got whatever it was, like 10 minutes of race time, and that was it in an hour and a half. You know, so yeah, glad to be back. The good thing is, you know, we've got that bit of data stored in our brains and data for the car that we can just reuse. It just gives you a bit of a head start, a little bit, but not really against the field because everyone's in the same boat. But you know, we was out testing today, and as is typical here, it was just plagued with red flags. You know, very expensive day for 4 25-minute sessions, all of which had red flags. You know, I think we saw half of the time at best, actually less for some of the sessions, which just means you're not getting the time on track. I had 7 minutes today on circuit of you know, green flag testing time. But actually in that time, I was quite happy with myself. I was able to switch on quite quick and, you know, put in some competitive lap times. I think we were 4th on the leaderboard in class, which I was really happy with because I haven't got a ton of experience here. And it was just good to get the lap times. You know, I was thinking 112s, but I was straight into the 111s. And actually, I'm almost certain we'll see a 110 tomorrow during the race if JC doesn't nail it in quali. So yeah, I think as ever, everything's looking up and promising for us to do well. And you know, as we've all been saying now, we just need that little bit of luck behind us, no silly mistakes, and pull it out the bag.
So this weekend, much like the previous episode and at Snetterton, we are on a great weekend of racing. We have the trucks with us again, which is fantastic. This event actually is called Convoy in the Park, and it's incredible. The whole infield is filled with lorries of all sorts. The whole paddock is just absolutely rammed with some great championships. And ultimately what that means for us again is we don't have a free practice session, so we're going to have to go into qualifying and hit the ground running. We've only got 20 minutes or 10 minutes practice straight into a 10-minute qualifier, and that's for our fastest lap. And then from there we do the race about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That does hurt us, but it hurts everyone. Everyone's in the same boat. There is no free practice for anyone. So it does add a challenge to our outputs and our strategies. It's always beneficial to warm the car and the drivers up where we can, especially on a different day of racing. You know, we've tested a lot today, but that doesn't mean anything for tomorrow, because we know tomorrow's temperature is going to be a lot higher, could be a bit more humidity in the air, and all those sort of variations which we don't manage to get our eye in because there is no free practice. So that, you know, it's just unfortunate for us. But to be on this paddock in this weekend is something quite special. You feel like you're part of a really big event, really, and it genuinely is. You know, this is one of the, I think it is the premier truck event of the year, and with that it brings crowds of thousands, if not 10,000s of people this weekend. So it's going to be really exciting to be part of that again, and we're just looking forward to just getting back on track and doing what we love doing, which is racing. So yeah, it's a great weekend to be here.
Right, good morning everyone. Welcome to Donington. Nice sunny day. This is the round 5 of the Britcar Endurance Championship.
We are just over the hump of the season now. We're on the back 4 rounds, and we've got a lot of stories to tell from the previous 3 or 4 rounds. Mostly not great ones, if I'm honest. But you know, we as a team, we come together every race. We don't dwell on these problems. So after the previous race, every race that we have a bit of a debrief and a bit of a going over what was good, what was bad, what we improve on. It's no different. It's really important that we identify problems that happened, and so that we don't make them again in the future or try to avoid them in the future. A lot of problems we've had this year have not been within our gift of avoiding. You know, things that happen on track, mechanical failures for bits and pieces, like at Snetterton when the drive shaft just failed out of nowhere. We can't do anything about that. That just happens, and it's part of racing, and it's unfortunate. But what I love about this team every time we come together is that we just don't dwell on these things. It's a whole new weekend, same mindset we go into it, all the professionalism that comes along, checking the car over, all the little nitty-gritty jobs, the fun jobs, the really rubbish, lame jobs, but they need doing nonetheless. You know, the lads, the boys and girls, they just get on with it. They don't moan, they don't whinge, they want to be here, they love being here. And so it's great, and it makes my life really easy as managing the team. I don't have to tell people what to do all the time, because they're just getting on with it, and I love that, because it means they're really enthused, they want to be here. They're not forced to be here in any shape or form. So, you know, spending time doing the sport you love with your friends is a great experience, and I just can't wait to do another weekend with them.
Everyone's different. So, you're talking literally 10 between 5 cars, right? It's nothing in it.
There's more out there. I've got 20 minutes to get in whatever you guys.
I think the bottom line is like cool heads will prevail in this today.
Yeah.
It's going to be fucking hot, hard in the car. And, you know, you'll have a tough start. It's going to be frantic. The good thing is, you know, you are on the back of our group, and you're going to have blokes to follow. You probably are going to find once it's settled, you're going to start cheering through that gap. But again, if that doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. Let's just bag those points today, boys.
Like I say, a well-timed pit stop at a well-timed thing is doesn't matter. Even if I was doing 110 flat every lap, we get making it, or 112, does it make a difference if we get them good? You think when we looked at Snetterton, we started in the pit lane and we almost got a decent result just being out there still. You know what I mean?
I think a really good metric could be 112 flats roughly. Yeah. It's going to be a really good metric to do well in this race. You're probably not going to get that right at the start because you've got fucking underneath and everything's a bit cold and you're settling into it. So again, don't worry about that. But probably for your stint and my stint, just trying to bang up in that 112 window, we'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah. I think racecraft is definitely the aim of the game today. You know, just pick your moments, don't take chances, just keep on relaxed up.
Started by Jonathan Campbell, will be handed over to Joshua Gilding as driver number 2. Will Ashmore will be the final driver. So that gives you the order for those 3 drivers. That's the only 3-driver car we've got down.
We'll have the Army Racing Sport machine there of Ashmore, Chandler and Gilding. They'll be starting in 11th ahead of Molesdale, who starts 12th. And well, we see all the cars there behind the pace car. And without further ado, it's time for 90 minutes of racing. And so the pace car peels away. And it's lights out, away we go for the 6th instalment of the Britcar Endurance Championship, and they roar the way down towards turn of 1. But as they do, our pole sitter covering off those who would challenge them in towards the opening corner with flat 6 Motorsports there. Sam Half trying to look for a move, but not quite able to make it work out. But Form Evo Racing Simon Clark, they're doing a brilliant job of holding on to that 3rd place GT pole sitter. And right now trying to change that overall podium if they can, but already our challenge leaders open up a gap. But look at the field as it flows its way down through Redgate. And well, as they do, all the way in towards the old hairpin, a bit of battling in the mid-pack there. That's going to be number 22. And being piloted by Archie Buttle for Voltis Motorsport, holding off there the attack of our 32. And well, good battle between the two of them, but still more to come as they now make the way up into McLean's. They've gone safely through the opening few corners. First class Stamps End. What we do see there a little bit further back in the order, plenty of fighting. We'll look back to the front, but do. Plenty of fighting going on there as they come down in towards the old hairpin. A 2 wide here between 2 of us. That's going to be the number 22 squeezing on through. That's Archie Buttle moving up another place. So he now moves himself up there into what is going to be at 12th place, squeezing ahead of the Army Racing Sport car. Let's see whether we can go a bit further later on. Oh, goodness me, and that is a race all over there, and I believe that is going to be the 189 of, I believe it's the Addison family. Bill Addison behind the helm of it. There we can see the safety car leaving the pit lane. Oh, as we've had another one of our runners park up there. That is Axel van Nederveen, the Donington Motorsport Ginetta G56 GTA running in trophy class. But with only 10 seconds left at the boat on the clock before the pit window opens and the safety car staying out, I think we are going to see some cars come in. Now, it's going to be a bit of a gamble there. I think that is one of our Ginettas. I think that's the Vortis Motorsport car coming in. Did they cross the pit limiter line before or after 18 minutes had passed? Right on the limit, there's your number 20 as well.
Safety car sounds like it's coming back in.
And thank you, Ian, and we are back racing, ladies and gentlemen. We are green, 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 and as they roar their way down towards turn 1, a completely shuffled field with the pit stops in play. See half the field in the pit, half the field out on circuit, and right now this is going to be a big question of strategy here as we go deeper in. But as we do see our leader making the way through, that is going to be your GT and overall leader of white, coming down the hill, being chased furiously by Saunders in the trophy set. Cupra. Down that hill, we do see the McLaren a bit further back. Our not our invitational run there, our number 36 runner. In fact, that is Hodgin in the invitational. Now, I correct myself there. Already squeezing ahead and taking multiple places. Smith tucks in behind. So Hodgin really getting a really good run at the start as they now come all the way back up through in towards McLean's. But already White trying to gap the field as quickly as possible here. This could really come down to how the field is all shuffled and spread across each other now, and who exactly can make a break and get themselves set for a pit stop. Remember, some of our teams have not come in, and therefore it may be the situation whereby by not pitting they've actually hurt themselves in the long term. But of course they might also be predicating the fault. There could be another safety car later on. But staying in the here and now, get ready to complete the first of the restarted laps here at full pace. See there on number 36 of Smith, just being followed a bit closely there by the Army Sports Car machine. That's number 17, currently being run by John Candler, and welcoming down towards turn number 1 again. Well, banding back and forth here, but look at the inside by Army Sports Car Racing Ginetta. No move being made. As we come back to the battle of the Ginettas here. What a furious fight this is going to be between the Army Sports Car Racing Machine and none other than Project 29-7 Racing. Coming in towards a coppice. You can see there the Longitude cars. So that's a big look up the inside there. Lovely move from Hall. And he'll dispatch the Army Sports Car Racing at Ginetta. Albeit, I think that was a bit of a compliant move being made there. Remember? To go down to Ian in the pit lane with a little bit of a look there. Over to Ian.
Oh, hello everybody. Yes, welcome down to the pits. Here we are. As you can see, a little bit more action taking place. In fact, car was about to be pushed out. It's been pushed back in again. I'm not too sure quite what the issue is. We have just had the driver change as well. We spoke to Jonathan Candler a little bit earlier. He's so I'm just going to jump through and have a quick chat. Jonathan, just to grab you again, how was the car?
Yeah, when we was going fine, I came out of Old Hairpin there, and it just on the way back up, it seemed to like we lost power, but no one can really see any issue.
So you just pushed it back and pushed it back in.
I think that about a bit of time issue. I think we got excited to get it back out. But yeah, I came in, so it's real down on power, so I don't know if we've got an issue, but no one can see anything. So I think we're just going to send it back out and see if it's redeemed itself or not. But we could be back in 5 minutes view.
Okay, well, fingers crossed for you. Thanks for talking to us. Yeah, it has just gone back out, as you can see. That was Jonathan Candler there. The cars have gone back out. In fact, we've got nobody else in the pits at all right now.
A little bit of an attack here, and that is going to be Murphy versus Clark, and Clark going around the outside there to take position. That's going to move him up into 5th place in the GT class right now, as it's getting very busy there, although indicator on for the 32 Porsche. Your 991 passing our trophy leader. Oh, what's happened here? And that is a Coppice Bend. That's our BMW M2, I want to say. And that's going to be a sad end to the BMW, beached in the gravel there. And, well, yellow flags locally, but that could potentially lead to a safety car, given where it is. We'll have to wait and see. As number 78 then off, White powers them through. Doing a fantastic job at the moment there is Colin White in the CWS Ginetta, as then we do see the stricken BMW M2. Oh, goodness me, that is number 7 there at the old hairpin, or the exit of it, and that is going to be the TSR Performance Seat Cupra, one of our big competitors in the trophy class here today, and unfortunately, they're stuck in the gravel right next to the exit curbing. That's going to be a bit of a precarious position. Could be the end of the story for TSR Performance, but I think what this is going to do as well, ladies and gentlemen, is perhaps trigger an influx of pit stops. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there, because we have still got 51 minutes to go, and well, you would imagine, particularly some of the teams who perhaps not yet pitted, are considering coming in for that first pit stop, and could we even see a bit of a gamble for what would be a second pit stop for some of our teams out there?
We've got the Army Motorsport team back into the pits as well. We've heard from Jonathan Candler a couple of times during this race. Safety car still out at the minute, although Oliver Cotton seems to believe it's going to be coming in very shortly indeed.
Running in 3rd place, it is going to be the 23 Simon Clark, the former Evo. Oh, goodness me, one goes wide there, hold the phone on that, and that's going to be 82, goes to the gravel. Can he keep powering through? I don't think he can turn it enough, and unfortunately that is going to be the 82 of Michael Nibbs there for safe side with Hills Motorsport coming to a stop, although I believe it is Aidan Hills behind them with the car at the moment, and well, not going right there at all. So unfortunately, that now might be stuck there at Redgate. We'll have to wait and see what happens afterwards. Oh, and we got another car off there. That's the number 3 of Donington Motorsport Box 3's Nick Casey. Well, it's gone very wrong for him. That's going to send him quite some way down the order. He was at the time running in 5th in GT cars, but he's going to go down further, as there's about a trophy drivers there, as that's going to be the Capture Motorsport machine making its way on through. And here's the replay of what happened to Nick Casey in the Box and Dart Motorsport machine. Lost the rear of the car coming out to the old hairpin, ran a bit wide onto the exit curb, and unfortunately you won't find as much grip there as you will on the tarmac. A lot of smoke in the pit lane on the top right of your screen, and well, as they all make their way through, that is not looking healthy as our cameraman is drawn to it. And well, something definitely needs to be extinguished there. And I think we have got Ian running down there to find out what's going on, but in the meantime, the number 50 of Dylan Hodgkin, I'm hearing, has had a little bit of a fire breakout towards the rear of the car, but whilst it's all fiery in the pit lane, it's also fiery out on the circuit. It's definitely heating up here with 27 minutes to go. Oh, car in the gravel there as well, and that's the old hairpin. It's not been the first time somebody's been claimed by turn number 4 in this circuit, and who is that going to be? That is going to be the number 47 there, and that is Maurizio Sciglio's, whose race has unfortunately hit the sand, and hopefully they'll be able to get that moving. But otherwise, that is going to see them drop even further down the order. And well, given they were running 7th in GT at the time, trying to chase down Casey, well, it's not going to work out. We do get ready to take a look down the pit lane, and there you can see the rear of the number 15 McLaren, and goodness me, yeah, that is a very hot engine. The car number 17 being awarded a 60-second stop and go penalty for a pit lane infringement. Number 17 has had to make its way back into the pit lane then, and that would be the Army Sports Car Racing Machine, unfortunately. So the Ashmore, Candler and Gilding car, unfortunately, will see their race time really drop a long way down when they do serve that penalty if they haven't already. Unfortunately, number 50 there still stricken in the pit lane after having the engine have all the smoke go up. But two Janettas battle their way down in towards turn number 1. Who's this side by side? It's going to be number 17 and your number 3. And right now, well, on 2 different laps, that is the Army Sports Car Racing car unlapping itself from the number 3 of Nick Casey. Casey being like the Darton Motorsport outfit. And with that change there, Casey just falling back in behind. But Army Sports Car Racing right now moving their way up the order and trying to get themselves back into what will be the lead lap as quickly as possible. But we can also give you an update on number 17 with regards to why they picked up the 60-second stop and go penalty, and it was refueling under the safety car. How a bit of change there. Nick Casey's in this as well, and how could we forget that's now 3rd in GT, and suddenly 4th place in GT gets changed because that's a big look up the inside there. And it's a move. Oh, that's a bit of contact there. Poor run coming through the corner. Red gate for Nick Casey. And in the end, unfortunately, that was number 20 going straight to the back of them. And we can see the damage down the rear with the exhaust pipes being completely misaligned. And could that be it for Nick Casey? Literally at the final hurdle. As meanwhile, well, number 20 right now, taking no prisoners out on circuit, continue to roar the way on through. And, well, the Porsche, the Challenge Porsche, definitely carrying on as much as possible. Definitely a bit of a scary moment there. Well, let's wait and see if I think it was the 32 Porsche that had the contact with Nick Casey, to correct myself. And, well, we do see Nick Casey's car there being attended by the marshals. And with 5 minutes to go, well, it's precariously placed on the outside. Oh, goodness me, and what's happened here as they make their way on? And, well, that's the number 78 now, Colin White. Big lock-up there coming in towards the S's. I'm not sure there was contact, and, well, just purely a lock-up from what I'm hearing, trackside. Here they come, 20 seconds left on the clock. Are they going to be seeing the checker flag this time? In fact, I think we are going to get another lap with 10 seconds left on the clock here. They're just going to squeeze in a 63rd lap. And there's the last lap board being poked out from behind the pit wall. So 1 more to go here. And, well, we could have some last-minute excitement in the fight for 3rd in GT. And we have got a further 8 seconds back there before you do see your 67 coming through. And that is going to be the wonderful BMW M3 of McBride. And none other than Keane, Junior McBride and Phil Keane together with Jeff Still Racing. To finish a couple of laps down, that's the 66th in 14th. And, oh, goodness me, as they come on down, have we definitely got the finish here of this race? I think we have. Yep, we have indeed. There's a bit of confusion there with regards to whether we were getting the finish line, but we've got a checker flag. And we have seen the number 67 come through. I believe what we'll very shortly do to bring on home what will be the GT win. As then we do see 31. Oh, what's going on at the rear there? Surely not. That is, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, that's your leader in GT. I don't believe it. And well, I'm speechless, ladies and gentlemen, because as it all comes to a halt, that means that in fact it is going to be the 78 Ginetta of Colin White that's going to take the GT win there. And I think they've just run out of fuel. Hammer Bryden Keane is coming on through as well. That's your 34, 8th overall. That is your trophy winner there. They're going to be absolutely ecstatic about that, but they will take the win in their class, 8th overall, and will be a lap down. But in the end, Moore Bryden Keane, they will be classified as 5th because they were the last lead lappers, but they will be at the end of the lap essentially, so they have not seen the checker flag. So a bit of drama right at the end. And then we did have Smith and Amos there just behind them at the finish, with your trophy winner there, Saunders for Capture Motorsport, taking that 8th place. And there was Murphy in 9th, they're 5th in the GT class, ahead of the Armour Sports Car Racing Machine, Ashmore, Candler and Gilding, completing your top 10. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, with all the excitement out on circuit, of course, you've heard from him throughout the entirety of the race, interviewing drivers, and well, I do believe we're going to be cutting very shortly over to Ian Waterhouse down in Parc Fermé to speak to your top 3 finishers and talk about what's been a brilliant race here, albeit one just as great a strategy as it has been on-track action.
Do you feel like it's been a good weekend?
It's all right. I wouldn't say it's been a good weekend, but I mean the car. Well, no, it's been an okay weekend, but again, the potential, isn't it? That's the issue. We should have done better than we've done again. So it feels like another missed opportunity, doesn't it?
I think it's been a good weekend this weekend for me. Yesterday was good testing. I was gaining confidence. It's a track we've raced at already this year, so I had a good base to go off of. It took a bit of time to settle into the circuit again, obviously, but it was nice. I felt quite comfortable coming back, quite relaxed, and I was actually really enjoying driving the car, which doesn't happen often because sometimes you're quite uptight. There's a lot of pressure, but it went. We had a really good day yesterday. Learned a lot, and we're feeling confident for today. Had a good night's sleep, and we've all woken up fresh. JC took the car out for qualifying, did a mega job. We ended up 7th in class, which was about where we expected to be. We weren't pushing this weekend, we're just hoping to get through, as we always say. And it was a good showing. We got into the 1-minute 10s, so he did a mega job there. He was showing the rest of us the pace in the car. We all had something to aim towards, that's for sure.
I think Jason's put in a really good effort for qualifying. He wasn't totally happy with the car or himself in just like the flow and feel of how everything was going. But I think he showed a good bit of racing IQ, and built himself some space on the circuit, which is actually really difficult to do. It's very easy to sort of get your bit between the teeth and want to overtake everyone in front of you. And I saw him chasing a pack of cars which are always generally like as fast as we are, but he did the right thing, just took a breather, took a step back, and then was able to put in a really good lap time. And it was great to see again, like I had at Snetterton on his final lap, he went 1:10.9. Really good lap time. I was expecting us to be sort of 1:12s this weekend, and to be 2 seconds quicker is amazing. So we qualified 7th in class, which I think we wanted to be a bit better, but I think given the frustrations from Friday and slight difficulties for qualifying, I think JC did a fucking good job as he walks past, pretending he's not listening. And I swell, sorry. That was that. And then we were kind of set for the race. The car was still in good nick. We didn't need to do anything between qualifying and the race, which was really good. Apart from usual bolt checks, fuel it up, good to go.
But yeah, the car was all in piece. It felt good. We did a bit of setup changes and tweaks and checkovers on Friday, so we were all set ready for Saturday. Moving in Saturday, it was my role this weekend to qualify. There was obviously a bit of apprehension for that from the Spa trip, but I'm glad that went well. I think from the Friday testing to the qualifying session, I think I shaved another 1.5 seconds off my time, so I was really happy with that. If you'd said that Friday I was going to be in the 10s on Friday, I would have been chuffed, so I was quite happy with that. And I think that's what I said previously. It's like if I improve it myself and I get out of the car and I felt like I've done a good job, and happy days. And I did feel like that after qualifying, which was good. So I was happy with that, and then straight into my first race start. I've only ever done one rolling start in a little Citroen C1 then, so to do it in the middle of a GT pack was really interesting. But yeah, loved it. I had a bit of nerves, bit of adrenaline. It was mega. It was a great experience. I'm really glad I've got that one off my back as well. So I feel way more comfortable going into doing that again, which that was a good learning curve. So I enjoyed that.
From my point of view, the race was really good. JC had a really good start, and we were attacking the people in front, and we weren't losing positions. We were doing really well. But towards the end of JC's stint, he started to feel like he had car trouble, and the throttle was a bit flat. So he came in a bit earlier than we expected. We were hoping to pit under safety car, but that didn't happen. I went out, and I had a bit of a scary moment where one of the BMWs in front of me had a rear left tyre blowout down the back straight here, and that was probably the scariest moment I've had so far in this car.
Where I qualified, it was on the inside line, which is always handy going into turn one, because you can kind of just park it on the apex and not let anyone go through. And that's what I kind of did at the race start. I was like, right, I hug the inside. If people want to go bandime around the outside of me, then fair play to them on cold tyres. They can crack on with that. And that worked out really well for me. Just kind of held my position. And Will, Ted, Josh, we were kind of a meeting beforehand, and we just said no silly moves. Just keep it clean. And I was very much conscious of that when we were doing that first session, and I was just going to keep my nose clean, get a couple of laps of the craziness out of the way, and set into a groove. And Donington's done the same, where we knew safety cars would come. Gladly it wasn't from us, so got like maybe 1 or 2 laps. We did get into that groove, and then bang, we were safety car. It's a big accident with one of the Aston Martins into the tyre wall, big damage, and then damage from another Ginetta. Both of those were in our class, which is obviously good for us position-wise, but it's always sad to see 2 competitors with expensive damage bills to have to worry about, which is bad for them. I did get it fastest though. But just so you know, I got the fastest lap of the weekend. But Will's not bitter about that anyway.
Overall,
in our car. So yeah, out of me, Josh, and Will, I was the fastest. So that'll make the cut just in the edit. Just at the end edit credits, just put in that JC was the fastest with like a little headline. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but so we had it on the inside. I stuck on the inside, kept clean, and then we were back in for the rest of the race. Safety car, we kind of managed it. As soon as the safety car comes in, that's kind of where the pit strategy comes in, and you kind of leave it to the pit wall, wait until you get some instructions. Even as a driver, sometimes you're like, it's just the right time, and you're seeing things out on the track that the pit crew aren't seeing. They can only go off the video footage that they're getting from the live stream, and whatever I can feed back to them, and I can say like, should be a quick clear up. It might be a bit longer when I'm on the pit radio, and it was a bit longer than we thought. Did we miss the pit window? I don't think we did when we look at it, because when we look at, in hindsight now, we look at the overall winner of our class in the race, and he stayed out with me. So I think that we made the right call there. But fortunately, we kind of, after the safety car, everyone had kind of pitted, but we were done then. We were happy where we were. We were ready to get our head down. That was great. But the car, about a couple of laps in, the car I came out of old hairpin, moving up. Just felt like it had no power. The car was really, it was real strange. It was the engine sounded flat. I pushed down the accelerator pedal. I generally thought, the engine's gone. It's game over here. So I, on the radio, said, like, our boys are boxing. Let's get in. The car's issued. We've come in, picked the car up. The lads have had a quick look around. Josh has jumped in, and we kind of said, doesn't seem to be anything wrong. So Josh has just gone back out and just did a lap to see if it felt good, and it just seemed to sort itself out, which is great that we haven't got a big engine repair bill. But then I was kind of, for about half an hour, just saying to myself, have I just made that gremlin up? But we have had a very similar gremlin like that before when we were at Snetterton, which we thought was a fueling issue with the temperatures of the car and the engine running, and that's messing with my flow. Just went. Where was I saying? I've lost my flow. So I had obviously had this issue I mentioned with the down on the power. And we have had that issue before, but it's almost like we would describe it as a bit of like a fuel surge issue. But when we investigated that last time, we pulled out a lot of fuel of the car, so it wasn't an issue. But I would say that was the closest I could compare it to. It was like a fueling issue, but so I don't know if something's breaking down in the car. So that's something that I know Will would get tucked into the after the race when he's back at the garage when he has 5 minutes spare. I know he's a busy boy. So hopefully we can find that. But yeah, I'm glad that it went away. It sucks that it kind of forced our hand with the pit stop. But even then, I think even after the pit stop, we were still in a good position. And then I'll say with the engine issue, it just wasn't worth the gamble to stay out. I could have done a half a lap, and having experience of some of my cars before, when there's a vibration and a noise like that, normally you're in for big trouble. So what I didn't want to do is go around for another half a lap to try and work out what it is, and it throws a rod and destroys the engine, and then connected in 2-3 weeks is a no-go for us because the engine was destroyed. So I had to just play by caution and bring it in. Luckily that did turn out to be the right decision, because I think sitting there on the pit lane, just letting itself settle down for a couple of minutes, managed to reset the car, and the gremlin went away, which is great news.
Unfortunately, my stint got cut short. The team have been really apologetic to me, but part of being in a 3-driver team is we have to sacrifice our aim to have even stint times. It doesn't always happen because safety cars happen, especially here, as we've seen. This is the second round of this happening here, and sometimes you've just got to get the car in. So I came in, and it had completely slipped my mind when the team told me on the radio that we're going to come in and refuel, that we can't do that under safety car. So I'm a little bit frustrated inside that I also didn't think that's not allowed, but you know, it was a team-wide mistake. It was one of those things, but we carried on. We suffered the 60-second stop-go penalty, but we cracked on. Will did a mega job, just fighting away as he does amazingly well, and managed to crawl back up to 6th place, which we had high hopes. Obviously, quietly had high hopes, but we're happy that we've made it to the end of the race cleanly. Yes, there's an error, but sometimes the best way to learn is from these mistakes, and we are learning, and we take all of these things on board, whether it's a mistake as a driver, whether it's a strategic mistake. It's all part of this learning curve, and we're not new drivers joining an established team. We are all learning together, and it's tough, but we are getting somewhere. We really are, and we'll see what the rest of the season brings, and hopefully look ahead to next year as well.
So, into the race. Again, just like round one, we had a safety car, I think within 4 minutes of the start of the race, which was quite an extended safety car because we had 2 cars off circuit. Unfortunately, the Aston Martin went pretty hard into the wall, saw considerable damage, and we had another Ginetta off on turn 1, which took the circuit crew a bit of time to clean up. Everybody pitted, bar 5 cars, one of which was us. I could see like a lot of heads trying to decide what we should be doing, and I get, if I was in that position, I would also be like, do we pit, do we chance it and stay out because it's so early in the race, the car's heavy, JC's not really had much of a stint, probably going to be another safety car, let's just see what we can do. So we went for that, and I don't think that was the wrong decision, or I guess as the race unfolded, it wouldn't have changed much anyway. I think if I was in that position, I would have kept JC as well, expecting another safety car. Because JC was sat so long behind the safety car, and the safety car was painfully slow for him, it just threw some sort of gremlin up within the car, and the car was stuttering. And JC did the right thing. He came in the comments and said, something's wrong with the car, I'm going to pit, which was just after the safety car had ended. So we ended up pitting the car outside of the safety car, which is something you never really want to do when we've built flexibility into the strategy, running the car heavy with fuel, so we don't need to refuel in that pit stop, which means we can pit under the safety car. But it is what it is. That wasn't down to bad decisions. That was down to JC seeing a problem with the car, thought he should pit. Absolutely the right thing to do, because otherwise it could have resulted in catastrophic failure. As it was, we pitted the car. The pit stop was okay. Few silly mistakes in the pit stop, but luckily we did everything there without fault. Therefore, no penalties. And then Josh went out, and I can't remember how much of a stint he got. It wasn't very long. I think we had another safety car during Josh's stint, and we called him into pit. I think we made absolutely the right decision to pit him at that point. We brought the car in and proceeded to do that pit stop. Because of the way that we rehearse our strategies, we're very used to now, we're pretty seasoned now into this, and we've been practicing our pit stops. Finally, we're getting a good race under our belt. Everything's going fine. No issues with the car, no issues with the drivers. I think we were just all the pit crew and management were all drummed into, we're very good at being told what we're doing, what we practice, doing what we've trained. That's such a classic army thing.
Muscle memory.
Exactly, like muscle memory. So guys came in. Josh came in, pitted, and just doing that muscle memory, the guys went out and started to refuel the car under safety car, which as we discussed earlier, we can't do. So I saw it, and my thought was actually we don't need to refuel the cars because we've had so many safety cars. We've run the car heavy. We've almost certainly got enough fuel to reach the end of the race without refueling. But I didn't trigger we're also breaking the rules, and break the rules we did. So that I got in the car, went out. Ted came onto the comms and was like, "Yeah, we just refueled under safety car." I was like, "Yeah, Roger." Very angry. Which, of course, rightly so, we received a 60-second stop-go penalty. So Ted was like that we need to serve it within 3 laps. I was already caught in traffic of lower class cars, so it was a good time to just get it done. And I think generally, if something like that's happening, there's really no reason to hang it out and just not serve your penalty. Came in, served 60-second stop-go penalty. Felt like forever. Sat there, cars screaming hot. You've just come straight into the pits and you stop. Smoke billowing off the brakes, billowing out the bonnet. You feel like the car's about to catch fire. Marshall's just stood there doing nothing, which I suppose is a good thing. If it was on fire, I hope he would have done something. And then got released. I think I jumped into the car at the 50-minute mark in the race, so I had a really long, hot 40-minute plus stint, whilst being incredibly frustrated and just angry in the whole situation. I think it's hindsight is a terrible thing because we all point fingers and try and make blames or whatever, and ultimately the guys were just doing what they've been training to do all season. And this is the first time we've had a race where the car's being good, the drivers are being good for once. No, I'm joking. It's just one of those things. So I did a long 40-minute stint trying to pick my way through the traffic, but with a 60-second stop-go penalty, very difficult to understand where you are position-wise, if you're overtaking cars for position or you're just unlapping yourself. You've got Porsches, the challenge class cars coming through, making stupid overtakes at stupid points on the track. The lead Porsche had an 18-second lead. And there's no reason for them to be. The rules are, as a car getting overtaken by the lead car, like blue flag situation, you should stick to your line and do your thing. Those Porsches are so quick, there's no need for them to stick it up the inside of you and ruin both of your lines, and cornering speed, at those points on the circuit. There's plenty of opportunity and plenty of straights on this circuit for the Porsche to just breeze by. I would be happy to lift off for a second and just let them get past. That ruined a portion of my stint with the lead pack coming, or the upper class cars coming through. But other than that, I just settled into it. Sometimes you drive better when you're angry, which I've had a couple of times now, and that frustration just means you go quiet, get your head down, and just crack on, which I suppose is also kind of a military trait. But I think I was apart from traffic, pretty much traffic, I put in a pretty good stint. You know, another pretty solid, very consistent stint of like low 112 laps, slowly picking off cars. We gained a couple of positions on my stint. Some cars tried to overtake me, and I really hope you see it in the footage, in utterly stupid locations. Huge risk. Ultimately they spun off into the circuit, which is another stupid thing to do, and nearly taking me out. Fucking idiots, to be frank. And all day there's been cars falling off the circuit. There's been multiple safety cars crashing, falling off, blowing up, running out of fuel. Just a difficult day for everyone. But overall, I was happy with my stint. I think we finished 5th in class, which all things considered is pretty bloody good. But ultimately, if we had really swept ourselves up today, that podium would have been ours. And actually, not just 3rd, 2nd, maybe 1st. And that's always a really difficult pill to swallow for everyone on the team. And I know, you know, we had a good race, but I know everyone on this team's a bit disappointed today. The good news is that car is coming home in one piece. There's still things to fix. We've still got this weird gremlin that JC had where it was stuttering. I've experienced it before, and I just can't seem to find it in the data to understand why that's happening. But once Josh went out and then I went out, the car was faultless throughout that. I had a few sensory issues on the dash giving warnings, but that should be simple fixes. You know, the car's going to come home. Thankfully, I've got a relatively easy turnaround, and we go to Snetterton in 3 weeks. And we need to do better. We can do better. We've absolutely got the capability. We just need to bring it all together. You know, decision-making processes, I think we need to formalise that in understand the pit stop situation, understand the situation. What is the situation? Well, we're now pitting under safety car. Okay, we're pitting under safety car. What can we do? What can't we do? And then I think that will make a very clear-cut decision on how we do our business. So it's quite a simple thought process or decision-making process. I think we just need to enact that in a formal military way, because we're so like embedded in how we do that. So almost like a flow chart of how we do our business. Yeah, exactly. Like actions on, and we'll nail it. We nail it. You know, we're still learning. We're still learning the hard way, as we always do. But we're getting there. We've taken another step forward for sure. Another step, and it's always good. You know, as long as we're always pushing forward, can't complain.
More lessons to learn.
Yeah.
Like, as in to build on.
Yeah, we're always learning, and you know, I think we will definitely have a decent debrief after this, and that again, it's not a blaming session. I think it's just how can we do things better, and I think that's in the military we're really good at that. So yeah, you know, we'll be all right.
The race started as it should do. Everything was good, on time, no incidents. And then about 10 minutes into the race, a safety car happened. There was 2 cars that come off track at the same time. One had quite a serious accident into a barrier, and the other one just seemed to have a mechanical failure and docked itself just on the inside of the track, both in the same sort of area, which was kind of convenient, I guess. But ultimately what that did is that caused a safety car, and that, as always, puts a cat amongst the pigeons. That happened right on the cusp of the pit window opening, which is at the 18-minute mark in the race, and it shuts at the 72-minute mark. But this happened right at the beginning, and if I'm honest, it caught us, or at least caught me off guard, because what caught me off guard was the fact that most of the other teams decided to do a pit stop, which it was just so early in the race. It sort of almost bamboozled me why they were doing that. What
kind of goes against us. We are a car of 3 drivers, and lots of the other teams are 1 driver cars, or in some cases 2 driver cars. So they don't have to worry about banking minimum laps for each driver. They don't have to worry about, although I don't get bent up about a fairness of seat time for each driver. You know, we don't want one driver to do 50 minutes and the other 2 do 20 minutes each. That's a bit rubbish. We want it to be fair because, you know, we're here to have a good time as well as compete, obviously. So it took some quick thinking to sort of work out what we were going to do, and by that point we'd probably missed the opportunity or the optimum time to make that pit stop and gain an advantage. All the other teams gained that advantage, but we essentially stayed out, and that was the decision we stuck with and carried on. Then JC was approaching his half an hour-ish mark, let's say 25, 26 minutes maybe, and he came over the radio and was saying he felt a bit stuttering in the car, and the car just didn't feel like it had all its power. So we made the decision to do the pit stop, bring him in, get the lads around the car, jack it up, make sure everything looked okay, all the temperatures were okay, and we did the driver change with Josh at that point as well. Josh jumped in the car and went out. And obviously I was straight on the radio to him to make sure the car was in good working order, and for what I don't know what JC experienced, but it wasn't replicated in Josh's stint at all, and then further into Will's stint. It was just, I don't know, a random anomaly, I guess. But anyway, the pit stop of JC coming in was quite well timed because it was in and around the window calling him in anyway, so it was nice, I guess. And then Josh went out. He did about 5 laps, I think, or thereabouts, about 10, maybe 12 minutes, and then another safety car came in. And by this point, because we missed the opportunity in the first safety car, we were essentially a lap down on everyone else because they'd already banked a pit stop. So we were like, need to make a quick decision here because we're already at a disadvantage being a lap down. What do we do? And again, caught me off guard because I just wasn't thinking what the right answer was. And we decided to do the pit stop. So unfortunately, Josh did a really short stint, and I know I've just said like we try and keep it as roughly fair as we can, in line with the strategy of the race. But Josh, you know, he got about 15 minutes in the car, which is really disappointing for me. Well, on behalf of him, you know, I want him to have as much time as he can. And then obviously that leaves us with only one, well, with our final driver in the car, no more pit stops required. Because there had been so many safety cars happening, our fuel running was quite good. We had quite a lot of fuel in the car and we were documenting it all the way through the race. Our original strategy was to do a 25 litre dump of fuel on the last stint, into Will's stint, for the last half an hour, because we would have been running quite lean on fuel and we needed that extra dump of fuel. And that was the strategy that was just like stapled in the back of my head of when we do the third driver change or second driver change, we will dump fuel. So we went through the motions. Now there's a rule in Britcar where you're not allowed to do a fuel, you're not allowed to refuel the car during the safety car. That's just an extant rule that's there for safety. It's their rule. It's not in every race series that has endurance racing, but it's a Britcar rule. And you know, the pit stop happened and we just went through the motions of doing the fuel. I just didn't clock what was happening at the time. I should have been more sharp to it, and I just wasn't. And ultimately, what that's done is it's caused us a penalty in our race. Immediately, as soon as Will went out on track, he'd barely done 1 or 2 corners, and I was called into race control to find out the punishment, essentially, of our penalty, which unfortunately was a 60-second stop-and-go penalty. So that's 60 seconds static at the end of the pit lane, and that also includes obviously the travel time through the pit lane, which is about an extra 20-ish seconds or thereabouts. So we were talking about an 80 to 85 second penalty essentially, which is more than a lap. That is, you know, we're doing a lap time around here of 1 minute 11 or so. So 90 second pit stop puts us back another lap, and that just essentially ruins our race. And it's bitterly disappointing that that's happened because of just, I don't know, just a lack of sharpness of the current situation of what's going on, and probably the inability on my half, and I'll take full responsibility of it, of not being sharp to what was going on and making the right decision. You know, I've been in this game for 10 odd years now, or longer, done a lot of endurance racing with Will, and we don't make mistakes like this very often, and it's really disappointing on my half that that's happened. So then Will went out and smashed out the last just shy of 40 minutes, 35 minutes, and he is well known, or he's got really good history and pedigree of just being at the back and just picking people out. He's got great racecraft. He can spot a good opportunity and just get his head down and just get on with it. So I kept my head down on the radio because I realised I cocked up, and I told Will over the radio that we'd got the penalty. Obviously he had to serve it. Yeah, we had a bit of a lover's tiff, I guess, on the radio about that, which was a bit sad. We're both sad about it, but we've kissed and made up now. And yeah, I just let him get on with it, and I just gave him the critical information he needed every now and again. But I know when he's in the zone, he just gets on with things better, and he doesn't need me waffling in his ear all the time. So then we essentially finished the race in 6th position in class, which I shouldn't be so sad about, because I think it's our 2nd best finishing of the season so far. We didn't have any mechanical issues with the car, despite that little niggle at the first session. The car's going back on the trailer the same way it's come out, but I definitely am leaving this weekend with a big sense of disappointment in myself, and that knock-on effect of letting the guys down in the team, because we've looked at the data and what could have been, and I think there's a lot of things that happened in that race with cars DNFing and not finishing, and I genuinely think we could have 100% been on the podium and possibly even 2nd. Just things in races just happen so quickly sometimes. You've got to make a split decision, and I think I said it earlier in the week where we roll the dice on a safety car happening, so we run a longer fuel strategy at the beginning because we want to roll that dice. And ultimately, we had that opportunity. That opportunity happened, but it just happened a lot sooner than we kind of thought it would have. And then the little niggles with the car not working right. There's just a lot to think about at the same time, and you've got to process all that. It's just a lot going on, and to make the right decision quickly, I mean, we can always look at decisions made with hindsight, and that's just nature. Why didn't I do this, or why didn't you do that? That's easy when you're not in that position getting grilled on the right situation to make. Lots of motorsport strategy decisions aren't linear. There's no, so if you've done this, now you need to do this. That isn't really a thing in motorsport. It's if the car's gotten a bit of niggle, or it's using more fuel than we thought it was, and it's running heavier, we need to play around with that. But there are, without a doubt, fundamental things that we need to not mess up on, and fueling under a safety car is one of those absolute rules which shouldn't even need to engage your brain. It should just be second nature to just know that isn't a thing. So, I will take that on board completely myself. That is me. And it is sad. I'm genuinely really sad about letting the team down. I know I'll get a bit of banter, like we all do whenever we cock up, and that's fine. I can take the banter all day long. It's army nature to take banter, but I love this team so much that I don't want to let it down, because we are pushing ourselves so hard for this. Just don't want to let anyone down. And that's as simple as it is. But coulda, woulda, shoulda, it always is. We continue to strive for that goal. We've seen over the course of the season there's been a couple of driver issues which have knocked us back from where we could have been. The first time we were at Donington, I again cocked up. I couldn't count. I think I mentioned that earlier in the week. We continue to find the opportunity to catch our break. It's coming. We keep saying it's coming, and it is. Things are getting better. They are getting better. Marginal gains are getting better for sure. And the lads are in great spirits. We finished 6th at the end of the day. We've scored some really good points. The championship points are looking good for us, or better, much better than they were anyway. It's just what could have been, and that's going to grate on me until the end of the season probably, and when we see the final results, I guess. Yeah, I hate letting the guys down because I know how much effort they put into this. but everyone's in the game because they love it. We all make mistakes, whether it's a mechanic breaking a wheel nut or whatever it is they might do. You know, the mechanics aren't faultless, they're brilliant people, but they're not faultless as well. You know, we all have cocked up one way or another over the course of the year. And definitely, you know, in my 11, 12 years of being in the team, I've cocked up lots of times. But this is the freshest one, and this one hurts the most at the minute. Obviously, we'll learn from it, get on with it, and not make the mistake again. And we'll come out swinging at Snetterton in 3 or 4 weeks' time. Yeah, sad, but you know, it's not been the worst day at the office we've had with Britcar. It's just for me personally, I have taken a bit of a battering today.
Yeah, looking ahead for Snetterton, I mean, it's difficult because, you know, I went first in that race and had a really good stint, and unfortunately we just had a snap drive shaft. So it was, you know, I think it's, for me personally, it's going to be making sure that car is good. It's had a hard day today, making sure that car is definitely good to go for Snetterton, which is far easier said than done. There's so many things, so many systems on that car. And to try and make sure everything's tip top is really difficult, especially when you can't, you know, we've got these gremlins that you can't see in the data. It's, you know, and we're extremely limited on time. I've got 1 weekend to sort that car out ahead of Snetterton. So yeah, it's because I think, you know, the drivers, I've sort of touched on it a minute ago, like we, the drivers and Ted had a pretty good chat about mindset, about how we want to do this race, how we should start thinking about mechanical sympathy, setting the car up for the next driver, thinking like an endurance racer instead of a sprint racer, or racing for yourself. You're racing for the next driver, racing as a collective of 3 drivers. You know, like we need to be one in that, and I think the drivers nailed that today. You know, there was no like selfishness in how much time they had in the car, or making silly overtakes, or just taking risks. We've proven time and time again we don't need to do any of that, and we can still do really, really well. So I think, you know, that we can put aside and say we've got that sorted out. The drivers know what they need to do. The car's always going to be a risk. It's very difficult to keep on top of the car. And the pit crew and management, we've got a lot of lessons learned there that we need to formalise and learn from. But yeah, I don't think if we can run Snetterton as we did last time, learning from the mistakes from this weekend and having a car that's reliable, then that podium's on the cards again. We're so close, so close, and we're going to do it. I know we're going to do it. We just got to keep pushing on, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, so 3 weeks to Snetterton now. I'm looking forward to going back. I didn't get much time in the car after the drive shaft snapping last time out, so I'm looking forward to going and pushing a bit harder in testing again, and potentially seeing a different strategy again, seeing what we decide in terms of the driver order. It was a bit different this weekend. It was nice to have the middle stint. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going back, trying our best again, still learning. It's going to be good to have another go at the circuit.
Yeah, so I mean, we're looking at Snetterton next. We're back out there in I think 2 to 3 weeks, which is a really short turnaround time, which is great actually, because it's still fresh in a couple of weeks. You get to like the sort of 4 or 5 week time. It does become a bit. It's not alien. It does be a bit alien maybe for you to get back in it, and it takes you a couple of sessions to get back into it. But Snetterton doesn't even feel that long ago. It was like it felt like only a few weeks ago. So these races have come thick and fast, but that is handy to keep fresh. And it went well when we were at Snetterton last time. I felt really good in the car at Snetterton, and it's so close. I feel like we could just get back on the pace there, and it certainly feels like unfinished business at Snetterton. We had the pace there, the car felt great, everything felt great, but obviously we had a mechanical issue. So I think Snetterton will be good for us, and I'm looking forward to getting back out there, and I feel like my pace is going to be good there as well, so I'm looking forward to getting back out. I'm sure we'll have another driver strategy issue. We might keep it the same, not issue, but we'll have another driver strategy think, and do we keep it what we've done today, or do we move it around a little bit and Josh try to start at the qualifying? It's always the balance when you've got 3 drivers. You want to give everyone a fair crack at the whip, whether we're really quick or someone's a bit slower that race weekend. But we're all so similar. It's rarely a variable we have to worry about. But it's great. Having done the race start today, it's a great experience. So Josh might want to do that next time and see how he gets on with that. So we're having a strategy meeting and see what we want to do. But yeah, after Snetterton, I'm pretty keen to get back in the car and prove that I'm quick. And I only managed to do 3 corners before the car broke, so I need to show I've got really good pace there. And the testing and the testing data and footage we got from that, I was really quick. So I want to kind of put that into the race action, shall we say.
So I think Snetterton, as a race, could possibly be our best race of the season. I know we had the drive shaft issue, and the cock up at the beginning was out of our control. But in terms of racing, we did phenomenal. You know, it was really good. Snetterton, all 3 drivers are fantastic there. It's where Josh has got probably his second most amount of experience. So, you know, as our least experienced driver of the 3, he has great pace there. As a threesome, they are fantastic at Snetterton, and we definitely saw that when we were at Snetterton a few weeks ago. If we can replicate the preparation, the process, and the planning that we did, and the execution for most of it at least, into what we had last time, going forward to next time, we're gonna be great. I do think so. I think Snetterton has been our best race, and like I say, it wasn't the best race, but it was our best race. It had the most promising opportunities in it. But we had 2 things that went against us, right? We got messed up at the beginning of the race for reasons out of our control, and the drive shaft failed again. We can't preempt that, but you know, as you saw, we did a quick turnaround, got the car back out and scored some points, which was great. That really uplifted the team to do that. So I just hope we can replicate that without the issues that we had. Just replicate the driving standards and the opportunities that we could have taken up and did take up, and make it our best showing of the season. We're not going to have the craziness of all the truck racing there this time, which will probably calm the weekend down a little bit, because it was wild, very much like this weekend's really wild with all the trucks. It's going to be a lot more of a normal race weekend, so we're going to have a bit more time to chill as a team and not be so swept up in all the craziness of this amazing environment that we're in with the trucks. It is absolutely wild. It's just going to be a more chill experience, and I think that will bring with it a natural calmness amongst the team and the guys and girls to bring their A game and put their best foot forward again. Snetterton's a great track, great facilities, it's a fantastic driver's track, technical, fast. You know, we know that Jeanette's fast there, and we hope to replicate that on the next round.